So to get started, we're going to come onto our backs. So readjust yourself on your mat, and we're going to come into a reclined butterfly. So taking the soles of your feet together, allowing your knees to fall out to the sides. We're going to rest the head on the floor. Really start to feel the lower back pressed into the ground. And then we're going to take our left hand to our stomach, our right hand to our chest. Tucking the chin slightly just to elongate that spine. And then just for a couple of moments, start to notice your breath. Start to feel your hands moving as you inhale. Lift and expand the stomach, the chest. And as you exhale, notice how your hands fall. Your stomach and chest fall. If it feels good, you can close your eyes. So just really nice deep breaths. Start to feel the body soften. Start to find some comfort in the stillness. And then taking one more deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Let everything go. We're going to slowly scoop the knees up with the hands. Bring them back to center, and then just allow them to fall out nice and straight on the floor. On an inhale, we're going to draw our right knee into our chest, give it a nice squeeze. You can move it around a little bit. Start to play around with any tight spots. And then exhale to release, and we're going to switch sides. Inhale as you draw the left knee into the chest. And then exhale to lower. We're going to go 2 more times each side. So inhale. And exhale to release. Exhale. Last one each side. Good. And then exhale to lower. Then inhale, draw both knees into your chest. Give them a big hug, big squeeze. You can take a couple of rocks from side to side. And then grabbing a hold of underneath the sort of at the backs of your knees, you're going to take those rocks back and forth. So along the length of the spine. And then we're going to slowly make our way up to seated position. Taking the weight over, coming onto all fours. Readjusting yourself on your mat, we're going to come into a nice cat and cow. So taking the hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Inhale as we send the stomach to the floor, send the gaze forward. Exhale as we tuck the pelvis underneath, round up and over. Nice, gentle, mindful movements. And again, feel free to play around with the movement. So you can sort of stop, maybe pause in areas that feel a little more tight to you. Making sure that we're clawing through all 10 fingers, pushing through the tops of the feet. Good, and 2 more cycles of breath. Good, inhale, return back to center. We're going to tuck the toes, really engage through the core here. As we inhale, we're going to lift the knees off the floor, coming into our floating table or bear crawl hold. Making sure the shoulders are stacked over the wrists. Squeezing the core together, really lifting up through the center. Last breath. Exhale, lower the knees to the floor. Send the arms out a little further forward, shift the weight forward, and then lower nice and slow down to the ground. Hands coming either side of the chest, elbows pinned back, pushing through the tops of the feet. Inhale as you lift the chest and stomach off the floor nice and gently. Hip bones in contact with the floor. Exhale to release. Inhale as we lift. Nice baby cobra, so really nice and small. Exhale to soften. Last one, inhale, lift. Exhale to release. Good. Pushing through the hands, send it up to tabletop. We're going to keep our hands nice and close in towards our body. We're going to tuck the toes. On an inhale, we're going to shift the weight over our wrists, stretch the sort of wrists out, and then exhale as we push back into the feet. Inhale, coming forward. Nice gentle stretch up the wrists. Exhale as we send it back. Good, and last one, inhale. Exhale. Good, taking the hands out underneath the shoulders again, tucking the toes. Inhale as you lift those knees off the floor. 3 deep breaths here, sending the gaze down to the ground. And then exhale, lower nice and slow. Release the toes. We're going to take the hands further forward in front of us. Send our sit bones up to the sky as we send the weight backwards, coming into our puppy dog. So allow the forehead to come to the floor. Just taking the weight off the wrists. Nice deep breaths. Keep engaging through the core. Watch we're not hyperextending that lower back. So stay lifted through the center. Good, and then pushing through the tops of and pushing through the hands. Inhale, come up. We're going to tuck the toes, and then we're going to nice and gently exhale as we send it up, downward dog. And again, feel free to take any movement that feels good for you. And if stillness feels good, just stay still. Give the body what it needs, what it wants. Making sure we're clawing through the fingers. Finding that lovely long length in the spine. Last deep breath. Exhale, release the knees nice and slowly to the ground. We're going to come up nice and tall. We're going to step the right foot forward. So taking the right foot forward into a nice kneeling lunge. Tucking the pelvis underneath. Engaging through the core. We're going to inhale as we send the arms up towards the ceiling. If that's not available for you today, you can take the hands to the hips. So just find what works for you, making sure that we're really relaxing those shoulders down. Using that breath, so really use that breath as a focus, a guide through each posture. Good, and then inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale as we draw the elbows down towards the floor, so feel a nice stretch across the chest. Inhale, reach back up. Exhale as we draw. Last one, inhale, reach up. Exhale, draw the arms down. We're going to release the hands either side of the foot. Taking the right hand to your head. We're going to inhale. And as we inhale, we're going to send the elbow up towards the sky. And then exhale to release it back down. So we're just coming into a nice twist. Inhale. Exhale to release. Last one, inhale, send it up towards the sky. This time extend your hand up towards the ceiling. Stay lifted, so really reach that hand up towards the ceiling. Watch we're not dumping the weight down into this shoulder. Good, and then exhale, release hands to the floor. We're going to tuck the back toe, and if we can, we're going to lift the back knee off the floor, coming into a nice low lunge. Options here to stay on the fingertips. If we want a bit more of a challenge, we can come up taller. And then again, a bit more of a challenge, we can take the hands up overhead. So wherever you are today, just make sure we're breathing. Make sure we're using that core as our support. We're going to go for 3 more cycles of breath. Good, last breath. Slight back bend if you want to. Inhale. Exhale, release the hands towards the floor. From here, we're going to pivot on the back foot. So we're going to rotate the back foot out on a slight diagonal angle. And then really lifting up through the center. We're going to take the hands around, windmilling them. Front foot pointing forwards, back foot slightly turned in. Inhale as we lift the arms up to shoulder height. Exhale as we bend into this front knee. Gaze is forward towards the front hand. And again, watch we're not leaning forward, so really try and stack the weight through the center. Feeling the legs engage. Every exhale, those shoulders are melting away from the shoulder. The shoulders are melting away from the ears. Last deep breath. Good, and then taking it all the way back down. Slowly rotate that back foot back in. Hands come to the floor. We're going to lower the back knee. Step the right foot all the way back. Coming to the start. Switching sides. Taking the left leg forward this time. tucking that pelvis underneath, lifting through the center. Inhale as you take the arms up. And again, options to keep the hands to the hips. Getting comfortable in each posture. Really not trying to fight anything. If you feel like you're super uncomfortable, maybe just ease off in the posture just a little bit. Good, one more cycle of breath here. Inhale, slight back bend if you want to. Exhale, release hands to the floor. Left hand comes to the head. Inhale as you send the left elbow up to the sky. Exhale as you soften. Inhale as you twist. Exhale. Last one, inhale, send the elbow up to the sky. And then extend the left arm up towards the ceiling. Nice gentle twist. Really staying lifted in the body, active in the body. Good. Inhale, reach, reach, reach. Exhale, release the hand to the floor. And again, tucking that back toe, engaging through the core, lifting the knee off. Remembering our 3 options, finding what works for you today. Pushing through all 4 corners of that front foot. You got this, 3 more cycles of breath. Anytime you feel like this is way too much, just drop that back knee to the floor. You can take the hands down to the knee, to the hips. Good, last breath, slight back bend if you want to. Inhale. Exhale, release the hands to the floor. Use it as support to turn that back foot out. Lifting through the center, really find your base of support. Come up nice and tall. Hands, again, arms shoulder height. Inhale, exhale as you bend into that front knee. Lovely. Nice deep wholesome breaths. Again, if the arms get a bit too much, you can take them to the hips. Last breath here. Good. Windmilling the arms all the way around. Taking that back foot to turn it back in. Releasing the knee to the floor. Stepping the left foot back. We're going to take the big toes together. Send the knees to the outer edges of our mats. And then we're going to slowly sink the weight back. Coming to our extended child's pose. Releasing the forehead to the ground. Just giving everything a chance to soften, to relax. I like to imagine that with every exhale, my sit bones are sinking just a little bit closer to my heels. Good, lovely. Last deep breath. Pushing the palms into the floor. Inhale as we come back up. Untuck the toes, take the knees underneath the hips. Tucking the toes, inhale. Exhale as we send it up, downward dog. Just 3 cycles of breath here. Really let everything go. So breathe in through the nose. And just release everything back out through the mouth. 2 more times. Inhale. Exhale to release. And then last one. Good. Bending the knees, inhale. We're going to walk the hands back to the feet. Keeping the knees lovely and bent. Coming into our nice forward fold. So find what works for you. If you need to stack some blocks underneath your hands, just to raise that floor up a little bit. Or if you want to keep your knees nice and bent, so that you can really rest your stomach and your chest on your thighs, your quads. So just allowing the head, the neck, the shoulders to hang heavy. If you want a bit more from the stretch, you can take the palms underneath the soles of the feet. Press the soles of the feet into the palms. We're going to be here for 3 more cycles of breath. Last one. Exhale, release, take the hands back to the floor. And then we're going to inhale, halfway lift. So track the hands up the legs, pin those shoulder blades back together. Elbows pointing back. We want this lovely long length in the spine. Gaze is pointing down towards the floor. Inhale. And then exhale, soften down to the ground. Bend the knees even further. We're going to roll up nice and slow, allowing the head to still hang heavy. Stacking each vertebrae. Once you reach the top, just take 2 big shoulder rolls back. Allow the body to come to a nice still mountain pose, Tadasana. Feel all 4 corners of the feet on the floor. Good, and then either taking the hands to the hips, or we're going to use the hands in the posture. Pushing through our feet, engaging through the core. Inhale as you send your hips back towards the back of your mat. Lifting the arms up overhead, coming into our sort of half squat here. Exhale to come back up to standing. So pushing through the feet, inhale, send the hips back. Find that nice flat back. Exhale, return back to standing. One more inhale. Exhale. Good, and then this time on the inhale, sending the weight back, pushing through the feet. We're going to hold here for 5 breaths. So options here, obviously we can take the hands to the hips. It just eases the difficulty of the posture. We want this lovely long straight line from the hips all the way up to the crown of the head. Keep breathing. If the hands are overhead, imagine that big beach ball. Shoulders are drawing away from the ears. You got this, last 2 breaths. Exhale, return back to standing, release the arms. Take 1 breath here. And then we're going to come into our tree, so our balancing posture. So wherever you are on your mat, you're going to shift the weight over to your left foot, and we're going to lift off the right. Rotating this right hip out, so our knee is pointing sort of out towards the sides of us. We can either keep the tips of the toes rested on the floor, we can take the foot to just underneath the knee, or we can take it up to the inner thigh, the top of the quad here. And wherever you feel really grounded, really pushing that supporting leg into the floor, we're going to inhale as we sweep the arms up, lengthen up through the body. And then exhale as we draw the hands down in front of the center, engaging through the core. Finding that sweet focus spot. If you want a bit more, we can take the hands up overhead. If you're really feeling the difficulty in the posture today, we can grab a hold of a wall. Use that for a bit of extra support. And again, find that lovely softness through the shoulders. Two more cycles of breath. Good. Exhale, nice and slowly release the leg down to the ground. Finding your center, recentering. We're going to shift the weight over to the right foot. And again, unpeeling the left, rotating that hip out. Finding your chosen position today. Making sure we're pushing that foot into the floor. Lengthening through the body, engaging through the core. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale as you draw them down in front of the center. Again, options to take the hands overhead. Maybe you want to test yourself, close your eyes. You're feeling really comfortable in the posture. Think about the sort of opposition. So really feel the contact, the pressure, the opposing forces between the foot and the supporting leg. And again, make sure we're breathing. You got 3 more cycles of breath. Last one. Exhale, release nice and slow. Notice the difference in the legs. Just notice, sort of absorb the feelings of the posture. And then reversing the path back down, we're going to tuck the chin to the chest. And imagine that we're rolling over. I like to imagine that there's a pole sort of rested in my stomach and I'm sort of hunching over, bending the knees as I go. We're going to plant the hands into the floor. We're going to step the right foot back. We're going to step the left foot back, coming into a plank. If it's more comfortable for you, you can come into this half plank here. Just 5 breaths here, so really lifting up through the center, squeezing the core, squeezing the glutes. Shoulders are stacked over the wrists. You got 2 more breaths. Last one. Good. Exhale, release knees to the floor. Cross the legs behind you. Send the weight over. And then we're going to come all the way back onto our backs again. Taking the knees into our chest one last time. And then allowing the soles of the feet to come back to the ground. Taking the feet to the outer edges of the mats, allowing the knees to fall into the center. Noticing all the new feelings in our bodies. Absorbing the practice. And then just to draw the practice to a close, we're going to take 2 deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. Final chance just to release anything we're holding on to. Awesome work, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Remember, keep moving, keep practicing, and I'll see you all next week.